It's the weekend and you have financial questions that need answering. That can only mean one thing. It's time for Jill on Money, the show that takes the mystery out of your finances. Here's your host, Jill Schlesinger.
Welcome to the Jill on Money Show. This is the program that takes the mystery out of your financial life. If you've got a question, just go to jillonmoney.com and click the Contact Us button. Let's get started with Tom from Philly. Hi, Tom. How are you?
Great, Jill. Thanks for having me. How are you?
Amazing. What can we do for you?
So here I am at midlife, right? And trying to make a decision, or midlife-ish, I guess. So I'm 52.
You don't mean midlife. Hold on a second. You mean you plan to live to a 104? I think you're you're like at 5/8 life. Let's go for that. Okay.
I'll take it.
All right. So you're 52, and what's been going on?
So I've worked in corporate America most of my life, and worked hard. I've grown, kind of up the ladder, started entry level, made my way to kind of senior director, VP roles, and I'm kind of thinking about can I retire? What's next for me in life that I can do that I enjoy a little bit more? I'm a little burnt out, to be honest. So I've got some money saved up, and I think I'm getting close to that point where I can not retire, but maybe make less, or who knows, maybe make more, but start to do something that I think is more meaningful to me in life, get out of the corporate grind, and just kind of figure out what's next. And
I love this. I love these. These are my favorite. This is how I wrote a whole book, because I talked to lots of people just like you, and we're going to try to change your work and see that we don't blow up your wealth. So you said you're 52. Are you single, married, or partnered?
I am single, but I have a girlfriend. Can you use that term in your 50s, girlfriend?
You know what? I used it for a long time, so I still say it. It's bad. Well, significant other always seems weird. And you know how the kids say partner? The problem is with people like us in our 50s, when someone says partner, you're like, oh, your business partner? Like it has, you're single with a girlfriend.
Correct.
Okay. Do you guys live together?
We do not.
Okay. Oh, that's why you're so happy. You hear the buoyancy in this guy's voice? Okay. So right now in your slog of corporate America, how much are you earning?
So depending upon bonus, it's usually somewhere between 300 and 400,000.
Oof. So what about when you think about kind of going forward? Is this like a now thing or in a few years? Just so I'm trying to figure, do we have to do this immediately, or is this I need an off ramp to get to a certain age?
It's a great question. So I've had my eye on that prize for 55, because that will also be my 25th year anniversary at this organization, so it kind of be like a nice way to wrap a bow on this thing and hang it up at 55. But that's 3 years from now, and I don't know if I can hang it.
Oh, dear. Is there any magic formula? Like you do a pension at 55? Any chance of that?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
Nope.
So then I don't really care. Then it's just a round number thing. How much money have you accumulated in your slog of a career?
That's a great way to put it. So I've kind of have two funds. So I've got my 401k with Fidelity, obviously through work. They match half. I've got about 1.7 million in that fund.
Yowza. Good news. Yeah. That's
started
good.
Investing when I was young, and kind of stayed with it, and always maxed out my 401k, every year.
Great.
Obviously a little different because I don't have children, right?
Yeah.
And then I've got another fund with RBC that was really intended to be maybe start my own business fund, or maybe buy a second house fund. And I've never done any of that stuff, and it's starting to accumulate. So now I think it's maybe retire early fund.
Okay.
And I've got about another 180 or 875,000 there. So
wait a minute, I just went from 180 to 800. So it's 800. How much is it? 875?
Yes, 875.
But that's invested, not in cash.
No, of course. Yeah.
Okay.
Invested. Yeah.
Okay. The 401k, pre-tax or Roth?
Pre-tax.
Okay. All right. So the RBC 875. What about money in the bank, or do you just keep most of the money at RBC?
No, I do. So I always keep about 50,000 in the bank. That's obviously traditional money market. That's kind of my plan money, whatever.
Yep. You live in a house, or do you rent, or what?
I live in a house.
How much is it worth?
It's worth probably around 700,000 right now.
Mortgage or no mortgage?
Mortgage.
How much?
I've got 192,000 left on that.
What's the interest rate?
2.6.
Would it be upsetting if I told you cannot leave ever? No, sorry, I'm totally kidding.
Not particularly. No, I think this will be it. I mean, maybe 10 years from now to like a rancher but this is it for the foreseeable future.
Okay.
Yep.
Anything else? Any other assets out in the universe that you're that we could think about?
Nope, that's everything.
Okay. Now, Tom, you make a boatload of money. You got this girlfriend. You're living a good life. How much do you think you need to actually live on? If I said, what are your expenses for real?
So I kind of turned that upside down a little bit, and I think it's somewhere between $6,000 and $7,000 a month. Now, that's not including my mortgage, but that is including taxes and homeowners, right? So, I've got the travel bug. I probably go somewhere 3 or 4 times a year personally. Mm-hmm. But the rest of it's kind of like bills and food. And, I don't live a particularly lavish lifestyle. I live beneath my means. Yeah. So, that's on the high end, 7,000. Like, that's like, I can do everything I want. Right.
Well, what's your mortgage payment? Just out of curiosity.
$2,200.
That mortgage is going to be for what? Another 10 years?
If I don't pay it off. And that's one of the
Don't pay it off. Stop that. It's a 2.6% note. Stop that. Okay. So I'm just going to say, and the mortgage is it homeowners insurance, and are they holding your taxes and everything?
Yeah. So that 2,200 is all in homeowners taxes, everything.
All right.
Yeah.
So
you back down my cost of living a month to maybe 6,000, something like that.
Then in the future, you mean?
Yes, correct.
Right. But now it's not 7. It's really more like 9, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
So let's do 9. Let's use 9 just for the heck of it.
That's probably high, but 9's good.
All right. Come on. Now, let's also look at what you think you would want to do. Like if tomorrow I said, you're out, you're done. Yep. What do you think you'd like to do and for how long?
Yeah, that's a tremendous question and one I'm trying to work out. So it could be as simple as bartend or, run cars for a car dealership to as extensive as consult, because I've got so much experience in this industry I've been in for so long. I could go down that path as well. And, everything in between from dog walking to consulting, right? I'm going to hang for a little while. I can tell you that much, right? I'm going to enjoy whatever I do and then start to figure it out. But really, I'm struggling with that right now, Jill, for sure, figuring it out.
Okay. So. But, what we really have to look at is almost 2 phases. Oh, and you know what else I forgot in your expenses? You're not getting free health insurance, so we have to add another $1,000 a month. So we really have $10,000 a month until age 65.
Yes.
Let's do that, okay?
Yep.
So let's do 52 to 65, and then we have 65 and beyond. What about kind of like when I'm looking forward here, is there anything else that could change this scenario? Like, is there anything like where you would say, well, actually maybe I want to, in 10 years, sell the house and move somewhere else? Because you said I'm going to probably keep this, but I'm just wondering, I'm just kind of poking at that a little bit.
No, there really isn't. I considered buying a second house, Jersey Shore or in the Poconos, but I just like to travel too much and experience some different places. So I've kind of ruled that out now. Okay. So no, I don't see anything like that happening.
We'll get back to Tom in just a minute. It's the Jill on Money Show.
Back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger helps you take the mystery out of your finances.
You're back. It's the Jill on Money Show, and we are trying to help people make better financial decisions. And we do that by encouraging you to go to our website, jillonmoney.com. And there's a ton of content that lives there, but there's always the Contact Us button. That is the magic way to get in touch with us. You click the button, you complete the form, and we'll get that as an email. And if you'd like to join us on the program live, then Mark will take care of everything else. While you're on the website, you should check out all the content that lives there, including my book, The Great Money Reset, which is about so many of your stories and has really been inspired by you. In fact, Tom from Philly, who we're going to get back to in just a second, this is really a book that is made for people who feel burnt out and want to make a big change. So check out The Great Money Reset wherever you buy your books. Right now, let's get back to Tom from Philadelphia. Have you looked at your Social Security benefit?
I have, yes.
Tell me let's do 70 just for fun.
I think that was 4,000.
Okay. Your full retirement age is 67. What's the number at 67?
That might be 4,000 actually.
Oh, and what's the 70?
I think that the highest I could get is 4,000, and then I think it was like 3,000, and then like 2,500.
All right, we're not doing 2,500. Don't worry about that.
Yep.
What I'm looking at is we need to create income of 10 grand a month until age 65 ish, right?
Yeah. Cover my costs.
And so if we looked at somewhere in between running, I don't know why I am very dubious when someone's like, oh yeah, just go to Home Depot and be a greeter. When you're coming out of corporate America, I wonder if that is going to be something that is actually satisfying to you. So if you were to be a consultant, do you have any idea how much money you could generate?
I do. I have friends that are doing that right now.
Yep.
They are all in and going hard, and they're making upwards of $600,000 to $700,000 a year.
Get out.
They are. Yeah, but I don't want to work that hard, right? So not at that point. But if I linked in with those guys or did it on my own, I could theoretically pretty easily make $50,000 or $100,000 a year. I think. Right?
Okay. But that's huge because that takes the pressure off, right? It really does. So I think if that's the case, you have a lot of money right now. So let's say that you're done from, kind of 52 to 60. You try to the consulting thing, you make 50 or 100 grand, and you use some of the RBC money to supplement what you need to get that 10 grand a month. Right?
Yes.
And by the way, the harder you work, the less you have to touch your RBC account, right?
Very much so. Yeah.
Okay. Now, after that, there is a very interesting thing. At that point, again, at age 59 and a half or 60, that's when I want you to stop using the RBC account. And that is when I think you should be taking money out of your 401k. From age 60 to 70, you will use that to supplement your life because that pre-tax money you're going to get hammered in required minimum distributions. Indeed. If you wait. Yes. So essentially, I would say to you that, and maybe you don't have to take as much out. Like if you're really enjoying consulting and you're making like that, you're clearing that 10 grand a month that you need, then maybe this is moot. But if you need money, and probably you will, because you're going to be like, this is fun, not that much fun, but right. So you take the money out of the 401k, you use that to live on. And even I could potentially see a scenario where between 60 and 70, you either live on the money from the 401k or maybe even slowly convert some of it to a Roth. Maybe, just maybe. I don't know if you have to, but I'm just saying kind of depends on the tax situation. If you're in a really low tax bracket, you might say, well, maybe what I'll do is I'll take some to live on and convert some. But we have to kind of see where you are. I think that at the end of the day, when you have, let's call it $2.6 million and you feel completely fried and burnt out, the answer is yes, you can do this. The control over your income will determine how aggressively you need to tap your money. Because, there's no reason for you to claim Social Security before age 70. I don't think you will need that.
Okay.
Because you have money in your 401k and I want to get the money out of there while you're not having as much income. So at this point, what I probably would do is you're probably maxing out your 401k right now.
Absolutely.
Once you decide to do this, if you decide to do this, I'm not sure I would even do that anymore. I mean, how much notice do we have to give these folks?
It's traditional, couple weeks.
That's it?
Yep.
Should we do it before the summer? I'm excited.
Very much so. I mean, listen, here's the other thing, Jill, and you know how these things ebb and flow. Like some days are fantastic. Other days are like, I got to stop. So like, could I be here for 4 more years if things change? Maybe. But I don't think it's in the cards. The sooner I can get out, the better. So.
Do you know what we've just put you in? We've put you into a new club. Do you want to know the name of the club?
I would love
It's
to.
called the One Bad Meeting Away. That's the club you're in. You're one bad meeting away from saying, you know what? I don't need this. You've saved incredibly well. You really have. I think that there's no reason to freak out except for the fact that you've lived your whole life doing this. So it's really weird after 30 years of earning income to be like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this. So maybe just to help you, what I would try to do is really talk to some of your consulting friends and say, hey, this is what I'm planning to do. I'm going to give my notice. I'm going to be done June 30th. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the summer off. I'm going to gather my thoughts. But, come Labor Day, I want to get some business with you. I want to start doing stuff with you and experiment, because it wouldn't be bad for you to sort of figure out on someone else's dime how to do this. To just do it yourself might be harder. So if you have that opportunity, then let's activate the network. It sounds like you've done that already. And understand that if you think you need to tap some of that RBC money in the next, say, let's call it 6 to 24 months, that you want that money set aside and not invested. Because what I don't want is you to have this complete meltdown where you've retired, you're done with corporate America, the market tanks for some reason, your 875 turns into 650 and you freak out. That I don't want.
My mind. Yep.
So, right. So it's okay if that happens, if a good chunk of your money, if you say I have 2 years set aside and that's fine, great. Otherwise, I think you can do this. And it does help that you have no kids, and it does help that you've saved like crazy. So Tom, I think we should do this. That's my 2 cents.
I love it, Jill. But you do feel like I need to do something to supplement my income a little bit until I get to be 62-ish. Right?
I think 2 things. I think that it would help your game plan if you had some money, and also it will help your head. It will be very hard for you to watch that RBC account go from 875 to 175.
Absolutely.
I think that would freak the heck out of you.
Very much so. Yes.
So I think so it's twofold. One, we want you to earn some income because it will prevent you from invading all this delicious savings. And 2, I think emotionally, it is a much better game plan. It's very hard to do full stop, I'm out. I mean, unless you had a pension or something,
I'll go crazy. I'm in good shape. I take care of my, I will go nuts. So I have to do something.
All right. Well, if you want to walk dogs, I guess that's okay, because come on up to New York. We'll give you some business. Okay. And Tom, just one other last question. Do you have estate documents done?
I do. Yes.
Okay, great. If you think there is something going on in your life and you'd just like another set of eyes and ears on the situation, Mark and I are both certified financial planners, and we'd love to talk to you. Just go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button, and we'll get your note. The Jill on Money Show will be right back.
.401ks, IRAs, refinancing, she covers it all. Back to Jill on Money with Jill Schlesinger.
You're back. It's Jill on Money, and we are here trying to help you make better financial decisions. And we do that by encouraging you to go to our website, JillOnMoney.com, and you can just click the Contact Us button. Now, while you're on the website, don't forget to sign up for the free weekly newsletter. It comes out every single Friday. Mark does a terrific job in compiling all the important stories that you may have missed during the week, because you know what? You're very busy. We get that. And when you hit that contact us button, by the way, if you don't want to come on the air, that's okay. We do emails from time to time, like this one from Lynn. The subject is problems cashing in double E savings bonds. Oh, no. Hi, Jill. Each of our 2 kids were given about $30,000 in savings bonds when they were little. Now they're in their early 30s and they want to cash them in. Our daughter cashed in all of hers in late 2022 with no problem. Our son, trying to cash them in now, can't seem to do it. He's tried several branches of his bank. They'll only cash up to $200 in bonds. His financial investment company wouldn't do it. He called the Treasury. They said they can mail him in. He first has to get them certified by a financial institution. Financial institutions won't even do that. What gives? How can he get them cashed? Also, why would anyone buy savings bonds now if it's such a hassle to cash them in? People, or maybe people don't buy them anymore. Thank you for assistance. I read your column in the San Jose Mercury News. Okay. So if you are thinking about savings bonds, the first thing you have to know is that physical bonds are a huge pain in the butt. So anybody who buys bonds today, they're buying them at treasurydirect.gov. Okay. Now, there is a whole part of the website that says, how do you cash in a double E or an I bond? And, electronically, it's a lot easier. But if you have a paper bond, here's what I'm reading from this, which is you need to have a form. You have to fill it out. And I didn't think that you needed to have the bond verified. I thought that you had to have you verified, your signature verified. So I'm just going to go here with, how do I cash in my paper savings bonds? If you want to cash it in with the government directly, I'm now going into this. Oh, I did this. I remember this now. I thought that you have to get notarized. I don't think the bonds have to get certified. I'm just looking at this certification. I certify that that's the notary. Yeah, these are notaries. This is not, I don't think, you may have gotten bad information. There is a document right on this website that lays it out. And I think that you probably can follow that. But I think you just need a notary to do it. But that's the best I can do. I just go to the source there. They are a pain in the neck, though. Okay, Beth writes, I will be getting a pension of $26,000 or about $200 a month. I was offered an opportunity to take a lump sum. Is there any difference if I take the cash minus 20% in taxes or if I roll it into a traditional IRA and then convert it to a Roth IRA? Oh, well, I'd much prefer to roll it into an IRA and then convert it. If you take the cash, you have lost the opportunity to make it a Roth IRA. So I would rather take it as a direct rollover and then make sure that you can convert it. I don't know if you have a traditional IRA account, but I would definitely do that. Unless you need the cash. All right, here is another question. This is from Daniel. I have a question about beneficiary IRAs. My wife has one. It was calculated with the required minimum distribution for her life expectancy of 84. She takes the RMD every year. The problem is the IRA investment income is more than the RMD. Does she have to take out the full amount left in the IRA when she reaches her calculated life expectancy age? Well, don't they recalculate the RMD every year? That's my understanding, which is why you have the table on which all these assumptions are based. And it's called a uniform lifetime table. So what's supposed to happen is, I don't know how old your wife is, but every year, if you're doing that based on on a life expectancy standpoint, you would recalculate it every year. Now, the other question is it smarter for her? I don't know how big it is, but should she just be taking more money out and paying the tax that's due? Are we compounding the problem? I need to know more information, Daniel. Okay. This next email is from Dan, who just finished reading an article I wrote after the National Association of Realtors settlement. And Dan writes, a close relative in San Francisco just moved into a senior facility and needs to sell their home. Following the recent settlement of the National Association of Realtors antitrust lawsuit, how do you think this would affect someone considering selling their home. And that would be before and also after July, when the new commission structure is said to go into effect. Look, what I generally believe is that some people think that because there is going to be a reduction in commission, that selling prices will drop. I'm not so sure about that. Again, it may be that it drops a little bit, but what it's really going to mean is when this person is selling their home, you're going to be able to negotiate a commission, and it's going to be 3% or less. So depending on how hot the market is and what's for sale, there could be some savings on commission, and it might would mean a difference in sales price. I don't think so, though. I understand, though, Mark, this is interesting, that many of the people who bought homes in the last couple of years could be in this class action, part of the class. And so the $418 million that NAR is paying might get diffused among so many homeowners who bought homes in the last few years. So, Mark, maybe, just maybe, you're going to get a few shekels back from the purchase of your home, because it's going to definitely go back at least a year and maybe more. So don't spend the money yet, but it could be $6.
I was going to say, I may get a check for $5.
I like when you get those found money checks, though. It's fun. If you've got a financial question, just go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button, and we'll get your note. It's the Jill on Money radio show, and we'll be right back.
Welcome back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger takes the mystery out of your finances.
You're back. It's Jill on Money, and we are here trying to help you make better financial decisions, whether that means that you're thinking about a new home, maybe you're thinking about trying to take a new job or not, making a move across the country or even out of the country. We'd love to hear from you. Just go to our website, JillOnMoney.com, and click the Contact Us button. All right, let's do this email. This is from Sherry. Sherry writes, the company I work for does not offer a retirement savings plan. Would you suggest investing in a Roth IRA for retirement? Yes, of course I would. I love a Roth IRA, but we want to know more about you. You can always use a brokerage account as well. All right, gang. So recently we had the crazy listener question about the father-in-law who had to be bailed out because he had this nasty habit of trading options, and the adult children generation had to bail him out. So this is from RC, who says, the subject, option trading father-in-law. Any future money to the parents should be contingent on a mental status exam of him. Bad financial decisions often precede diminished capacity diagnosis. Anger and hubris often go along. Oh, I love that. That's so smart. Okay, here's the last email of the day from Cindy. Hi, Jill. Love the show and all the information you provide. I have a question regarding how much and when to do Roth conversions. My wife is 65. I am 63. We're both retired and collecting Social Security, combined benefit of about $4,226 a month. We have Roth accounts that are worth $875,000. Rollover IRAs worth $3.8 million. We currently need $8,000 a month for expenses. Question: how much should we convert each year before RMDs kick in, since we have to consider IRMA as well as taxes? Now, IRMA, guys, this is when you have too much income. The government whacks you on the knuckles and charges you extra money for your Medicare services. So that amount of money for a married couple can be up to an extra $500 a month. Now, of course, that would mean you were making more than $750,000 a year, but it's a lot of money. It really bums people out. Let me get back to Cindy. They've got a house which is worth $900,000 with a $277,000 2.875% mortgage. They've got $50,000 in cash in the bank. So what is a sweet spot to shoot for with regard to taxes and IRMA surcharges when doing these conversions? Any guidance you could provide would be welcome. Thank you. Well, Mark, they're 65 and 63. They're collecting Social Security. They don't have a ton of money in cash. You know, they've got $50,000 in cash. But if we convert for them, I'm not sure we have money to pay the tax that's due, because I don't really want to leave them with less than $50,000 in cash.
If that's it, the options are
not great.
Are quite limited.
So one way to think about this is to say, okay, I'm not going to convert because I don't have the cash available to convert. But I also want to start taking money out of these accounts, the rollover IRAs, so that we can start to limit the amount of money we pay in RMDs, right? We want to try to tamp that down. So I'm just looking at the beautiful Ed Slott 2024 Medicare income planning chart. And it says here that if you are married filing jointly and you earn less than $200,000, you will have a zero Medicare surcharge. So that would mean essentially that you guys could take, I mean, give or take, $150,000 a year from your IRAs. You'd pay the tax that was due, you'd live on the rest, and you'd bulk up the amount of money that you have outside of retirement. You wouldn't convert anything. And you could do that for a number of years. I mean, you guys are not going to have, you probably have 8 years here before you need to start taking, maybe 9, when you're going to have to start taking distributions. So you could take out $150,000 a year, pay the tax that's due, and maybe that's it. Because you don't have the cash available to do the conversion. So I think that's what I would do. Is that good enough for you, Mark? Well, I don't even have them paying any IRMA as long as it's your modified adjusted gross income is $206,000 or less, and they only have about $50,000 of income.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best option for them. They're not going to get it all out, but they'll get a good chunk of it out.
Yeah, they'll get a good chunk out, and they can see where things stand. Maybe they're not going to spend all of this money. Maybe $8,000 a month is really like a tippy top number. Maybe they'll build up their cash, and maybe they'll build up an investment account. If they don't need all that money, then put it in an investment account, and then you can start considering a conversion later.
Right. That's exactly what I was going to say. If they don't actually need the money to live on, then just invest it. And when it's time for RMDs, a decade down the road, then you can do conversions.
Yes. And also don't forget, by the way, if you guys are charitably inclined, you can also use those IRAs to do qualified charitable distributions. So that's another way to get money out once you turn 70 and a half. So keep that in mind. All right, I think a lot of good options. If you have a financial question, just go to JillOnMoney.com. We'll be right back. You're back. It's Jill on Money. And when we end the hour, we always like an email. This is from Mark, who writes, I always look forward to your weekly column in the San Jose Mercury News. This week's was especially pertinent and informative to me and my wife as we've always been unsure how long to keep tax records and other documents. So thank you. By the way, gang, you can find this very article on my blog, JillOnMoney.com. Hit the blog section, what to toss, what to shred. Okay, so Mark goes on, even though you noted real estate closing mortgage, I have a follow-up question. Over the past 30 years, we've refinanced a number of times, and I've continued to keep those documents even though they're no longer our current mortgage. Should I keep that paperwork, or is it no longer something that would be pertinent? Also, my first home was a condo, and I believe I have the original paperwork for that purchase. That was way back in the 80s. Okay, so here's the deal. Once you refinance, you can get rid of the old paperwork. Just go ahead and shred it. And as far as the condo, unless you need it for posterity or for some other reason, I would shred that as well. And the last question from Mark is about his father, who passed away last year at the age of 91. And Mark says, I'm the executor for his estate. How long do you need to keep that information? Okay, when it comes to estate stuff, it's a little bit of a different clock. And basically, it's 3 years after the filing of any estate tax return, or maybe 3 years after a person's death. It kind of depends on which is later. Now, I will also say I very much think you should always keep birth certificates, death certificates, marriage certificates, and divorce decrees. I think you should keep those indefinitely. I hope that helps. Okay, if you've got a question about what to keep, what to shred, or anything else going on in your financial life, give us a holler. Just go to JillOnMoney.com. Click on the Contact Us button, and we will get your note. Now, while you're there, there's so much cool stuff to check out. I'd love for you to see what's going on our service called Jill on Money Live. For $35, you have access to quarterly live webinars and lots of special bonus video content. $35, it's a deal. Check it out, Jill on Money Live. This is the Jill on Money Show. We'll be right back.
It's the weekend, and that can only mean one thing. You're listening to Jill on Money, the show that takes the mystery out of your finances. Here's your host, Jill Schlesinger.
Welcome back. It's Jill on Money. Let's get right into it. We're talking to Natalie from Texas. Hi, Natalie. How are you, and what can we do for you today?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. So back in 2020, my teacher husband was ready to call it quits, but I didn't think that we could afford for him, as the sole breadwinner, to retire. So we agreed to meet with a financial advisor to get an impartial opinion. This was the last week of February 2020 when all hell was about to break loose, thanks to COVID. And then my dad died the next week, and we just simply didn't maintain a relationship with this person, even though we really liked her. But our 2-hour free consult was pretty in-depth, and she said that my husband could retire if, until we turned 65, he worked a part-time job that brought in about $1,500 a month. I was skeptical for a variety of reasons, mainly because we truly never had a budget during our entire marriage. And I didn't think the information we provided her was particularly accurate. But based in part on her numbers, my husband did retire a year later in May 2021 and eventually began working two part-time jobs that he still has today. So fast forward to today, and we have a much better handle on things. We're working hard on tracking our spending. We started using a budgeting app last fall, and the 2 part-time jobs are bringing in more than the $1,500 a month. Things seem good, but when we met with this financial advisor, she gave us a thumb drive with 3 different scenarios. And now when we go back and look at the numbers, they just don't make sense. And she's appeared to have left the practice, her company. And so she's not really a resource for information. And I feel like our financial situation's pretty simple enough. We probably wouldn't have hired her to maintain her anyway. But I'd love to hear if what she told us, the main thing that sticks out in my head is that we would never have to touch my 401k, whether that's really accurate. Because sometimes I look at the numbers and totally see it. And then sometimes I listen to y'all and hear about all these people with so much more money. And it's like, how can this possibly be true?
All right. First of all, forget about the other people. I don't care about them. I care about you. You are with us today. And everybody listening, I don't care how much anyone else has. If you come on with us, we care about what your situation is. So a few questions. Natalie, how old are you and your husband right now?
We're both 61.
Okay.
And he is drawing a monthly pension of about $2,900. And his 2 part-time jobs are bringing in, on average, about $2,000 a month. It really varies month to month because during the summer, one of his part-time jobs is he's gone back to tutor at a much higher salary at his school. And so during the summer months, that money's not coming in, but it averages more than $2,000 a month.
So wait a second. There's pension of $2,900. There's part-time income that nets $2,000. Out of the $2,900, does he get health insurance, or are you still working and that's where you get your health insurance?
No, it's just him, and our insurance is coming out of that. It's about almost $800. Well, about $700.
Okay,
yeah.
$700 a month, and so
net $2,200 on the pension.
Okay, that's good. That's good. And you are working or not working right now?
I'm not working.
Okay. What do you think your expenses are running on an annual basis?
Monthly. So we've been tracking really solidly since September. And so what we think it's about $4,500 to $5,000 a month. So we're really close to that break-even point right now.
But are you dipping into your savings to fund a different, like if you took a big trip and you wanted to pay for that, obviously you've got more like $4,200. So do you dip into a savings account to fund the bigger stuff?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And we before he retired, we had set money aside, like we just replaced the roof last year. We know we're going to need a new HVAC, that kind of thing. So we have money sitting in savings / a brokerage account to, help fund some of that.
Tell me about that savings account. How much is in there?
So right now, my 401k, what I had when I was working, is rolled over into an IRA, and this is all in Vanguard. And there's about $500,000 in that.
Okay.
And then we started doing Roth IRA conversions, and so there's about $82,000 in a Roth IRA. And then my husband has a separate Roth that's $38,000. We have a brokerage account of $51,000. An I-bond of $11,000, and then about $35,000 in the bank.
Okay. So did your husband, in addition to the pension, have some sort of deferred compensation as well?
No.
Okay. So his retirement is the pension. You have this $500,000 in your IRA. You've got the Roth IRA 82, his Roth IRA 38. You've got 35 in savings, 51 in brokerage, a little I-bond over there on the side. In your savings right now, that 35, is that earmarked for something? In other words, you said, I know we have to do this, that, and the other thing, but is that part of your savings or is that part of the brokerage right now?
The earmarked money is part of the brokerage.
Okay, got it. All right. So of the brokerage, how much is really available, would you say? Meaning that's not been spoken for?
Probably about $20,000.
Okay. Because I'm just going to say, I'm not going to say 51,000. I'm just going to say 20,000 then. So for my purposes. Okay, good. Now, that's great. How about your house? Do you own a home or do you rent?
We own. It's worth about $550,000, I'd say, probably conservatively. And it's paid off.
Oh.
And we have no other debt. We have 2 cars, but they're kind of old. I mean, more than 10 years. And so they're going to have to be replaced eventually. We've got 2 adult kids who are awesome. They're fully launched. But sometimes we do give them some financial gifts to help with little things here and there.
Because you know why? You're a parent of a certain generation. You can't help yourself.
Yeah. And I will say one driver of our finances is that we'd love to leave them this house and a good little nest egg, which is one reason that the words, you'll never have to touch your 401k sounded so appealing to me.
I get it. I'm not worried about that because they're launched and they seem like you've already done that good job. Did you guys file your taxes yet for last year?
Yes.
Okay. Are you due a refund or did you kind of play this out the right way and sort of net neutral?
No, we end up having to pay because we did a rollover.
Aha, gotcha.
Roth conversion.
So in the Roth conversion, what tax bracket did you end up in? Because you don't have you have income because you have the pension, you have the part-time. Did you convert enough to stay in the 12% or did you pop into 22%?
I worked it to where I stayed on the 12%.
Okay.
With about $500 of wiggle room. I guess I should say one other thing that down the line, that's where we kind of are right now. Mm-hmm. But down the line, absolutely right now, I could afford to take a pension. I have a small pension from the previous employer that, if I were to take it right now, I'd get $628 a month if I don't do a joint survivor annuity. If I take it at 65, I get $785. If I just found out recently, like last month, that I don't even have to take it at 65. I could let it just sit there and grow until 72. Yeah. And then it would be worth $1,635.
What? Yeah, wait a minute. That sounds a little too good to be true. That is huge.
I know.
Wow.
It's my old private employer. They've always been really good to employees. That back when I worked there, the benefits were great and all. There's a part of me that's like super nervous they're going to go under.
Well, that's a real risk when you have a small company. The Jill on Money Show. We will be right back.
Back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger helps you take the mystery out of your finances.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. Let's return to Natalie from Texas. Can we talk a little bit about Social Security for you guys? So sure. Your husband, what does Social Security look like for him?
So we are hoping to wait until 70 to take his, and then it would be 2721.
Do you have enough on your record to claim your own, or would you take half of his?
No, I definitely have enough to claim my own. And kind of the plan we're looking at right now is maybe once he quits his jobs at 65, that's when I would start taking my Social Security. If I took it at 65, that would be 1545. So that would be replacing that lost income.
What is your 67 at full retirement age?
1783.
1783. And what's your age 70?
2211. If I were to take my pension at 72, his pension already is here. His Social Security at 70.
Yeah, you're living large.
Yeah, we're making more than $100,000 a year, that's more than we ever made when we were working. A teacher, and I didn't get paid a lot either.
But that's amazing, right?
Down the line, we're okay.
I get you. So what we're really talking about now, I know you keep saying 65, but I'm just going to keep talking about 67. There are certain advantages to claiming at full retirement age, and they're not just monetary, but because it gives you some flexibility about some other stuff. But so if I looked at the next 6 years, okay, can he, instead of 2 part-time jobs, okay, if he were, is he feel stressed out by having 2, or is he fine?
No, I mean, in one way, he'd love to get rid of the tutoring job, but that money's pretty good, you know? Yeah. And the other job is just a job for the soul. It is not bringing in a lot of money, but he just really enjoys it. He doesn't want to give that one up either. So,
okay. But could he do less tutoring?
Maybe he could. We'll have to ask. The deal is once you retire from the state, how the state
how much right. It's like how much can you actually do? Right. But if he could, this is what I'm sort of thinking. Okay. I'm going to take this to your age 67. Okay. So, or you're both age 67. So we have 6 more years. And if you just reduce the amount, let's say he had $1,500 a month that he was making net. All right. Okay. So now instead of 2,000 net, you have 1,500 net, and then you have your 2,200 net. And, we have 3,700 of your $5,000 a month that you need. Right. So the question is, where do we draw the extra money so that you can afford to do whatever you want to do? I think the idea that I have is instead of converting to a Roth, which I know you're happy, everybody loves that, but I'm wondering if it might be smarter right this minute to use the IRA account and pull some of the money out. Just use it to live on. You're going to get a tax. It's going to be the same thing. Stay within the 12% tax bracket. Okay. Mm-hmm. Don't convert it. Don't convert the money yet. Just keep it as the money you live on to bridge the gap between your current income and the $5,000, right? You need $1,300 a month. So let's say that you live in a low tax state. So maybe if you took out $1,800 a month, or you took out 20 grand from your retirement account for each year of the next 6 years, that's a good thing because you're reducing your future required minimum distribution, right? And you're living on it and you're paying it at the 12% bracket. Because by the way, your tax bracket, you're right, your tax bracket could potentially rise. It's kind of crazy when you think about that, just because you're going to have a lot of income. And then at 67 or 70, whatever we decide, he takes his money. Listen, I'm inclined to wait till 72, but I guess the thing about the old company pension is you have to find out from someone on the inside if the pension is funded. I think they have to report that. You're part of the pension plan. Are you friends with people there still?
Well, I mean, you said a small company. It's not a small company. It is a private company. And no, it's based out of another state. Mm. So,
but it's a private company. And do you know anyone who's still there?
Not at the, HR.
Not the level that you would be able to do it.
Right. Now, I will say this about holding off on the pension. The other reason why I'm very, I really want to hold off on it is because if I were to get hit by a bus tomorrow, they assume that I would have done a joint survivor annuity. And I had no plans to do a joint survivor annuity.
Oh.
Structured it was that, he's going to get my nice 401k monies when I die, and I'm going to get his nice pension money when he dies.
I got you.
I was always going to take it just 100% me. Mm-hmm. But if I were to get hit by a bus today or any time before I start taking that pension, they assume that I would have done a 50%. So then he'd be set up with 50% of what I'd be getting at that point.
Oh, okay. I'm going to presume, because you said it's a good company, it takes care of its people and it's private. And look, these pensions, unless they're going to go broke. And if you work there for some time, it may be worth rolling the dice to get the pension. This is what I think. I think this is doable. I think he can take his Social Security at 67. You should pull the money out from your retirement account to just live on, pay the tax, stay in the 12% bracket, fund the gap. Okay. Stop converting, because I don't want you to soak up all your liquidity. You need money. You need stuff, right? You need to buy, you're going to need a car or two. We need that money. And I know you have the money in a Roth, but I already have a sneaking suspicion that you are the kind of people that would be very sad to invade that Roth because you would like to give that to your kids. I get it. For the kids, by the way, it's great to inherit a Roth asset. So if your kids, if what they got was your house and your Roth accounts, and you never touched your Roth accounts, never, that'd be an awesome payoff. You're going to have to pull money out of your 401k eventually, right? That's a required minimum distribution.
Correct.
I'm suggesting you take some of that money out now before those 2-3 extra streams of income start, meaning pull the money out before two Social Security checks and your pension start. And I think that's a better way to do it. If your husband, I think it doesn't really matter to me if he's like, I won't give up this tutoring, it's too much money. That's his choice. You don't need to have him working as much as he's working, because you can use the 401k. So let's get back to your big question. You went to the financial advisor. She said your husband could retire if he worked part-time until age 65. She was right. The whole thing about never having to touch the 401k was not necessarily the wrong advice. I think the idea was, if you wanted to absolutely preserve that account, you could, but then you would be dipping into the pension and Social Security early. And I don't think that financially that's the smartest decision for you guys, because
Okay.
I think we have a chance to do what we call a tax arbitrage. We have a chance to get money out of your 401k that has not yet been taxed at the 12% bracket. And not many people have that as an option. So I think so instead of converting that brings you to the tippy top of the 12%, I think you should just pull the money out that takes you to the top of the 12%. Keep it. Do not invest it. I'm worried about these cars and other stuff. Live on it. Have it. Make sure you're in a high yield savings account or maybe in the brokerage account for, I don't know, of the 30 grand you have that you know you're going to be spending. Is that within the next year? Or do you think it's in the next couple of years?
Probably in the next couple of years. I mean, I have set that money aside forever, and for so long it was sitting in my, credit union earning nothing.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I keep waiting for the HVAC to fall apart. I keep waiting to put the new flooring in and the things that need to happen, and it just hasn't happened. So it's like, you know what? I'm going to move it over there to this thing that's earning at least 5%, but it's still keeping me liquid.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So I would do the same thing. I really would. I would essentially take the same approach, just pulling the money out, living on it. If your husband really wants to if he wants to lighten up the load a little bit, then I think you have the ability to do it. And then at 67, I mean, honestly, even if it were just at 67, he's like, all right, I'm just going to do my fun job that I love that nurtures me. And we have his Social Security. You know what? Life's good. You got no problems. The Jill on Money Show. We will be right back.
401ks, IRAs, refinancing, she covers it all. Back to Jill on Money with Jill Schlesinger.
You're back. It's Jill on Money, the program that attempts to take the mystery out of your financial life. If you've got something going on in your world, in your financial world, your real world, anything that remotely touches money, just go to jillonmoney.com, click the Contact Us button, and we'll get your note. If you'd like to join us live, just check the box and Mark does everything else. That's what Leanne did. He's on the line from Rochester, New York, that is. Hello, Leanne. How are you? What can we do for you?
Hi, Joe and Mark. Thank you for having me on the show. Well, I'm just curious on how to keep my finance all together and whether or not I am on track for a very same style of living when I reach retirement, hopefully 35 to 40 years later. I'm currently, I turned 40. I work in the tech sector. And because of the turbulences, so I was recently laid off.
Oh,
so
I'm sorry.
No worries. I actually have something lined up to start in next week, next Monday. 8th.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Tell us about the new job.
Oh, it's in AI, but it's a startup. As you know, there's quite some uncertainty in startups, so there is some chance that I will be going through the same thing again a year, maybe 2 years later. But of course, I personally believe that hard working is going to take me far. So if everything goes well, so the startup will go well, and it will be a long relationship.
All right. Well, I'm hopeful for you. So how much are you earning in the new job?
I am earning 118.
118. Okay. Do they have a retirement plan available?
No, I don't think so.
Well, let me ask you this. Let me go into a few details. Are you single, married? What's going on for you personally?
I am married. I have 2 wonderful daughters. One is 7, one is 4. I am the single income for the house.
Okay. How old's your wife?
My wife and I are the same age.
So you're both 40?
Yes.
Okay. Right now, how much money do you have just in an emergency reserve, like bank account, CDs, liquid, accessible cash?
Overall liquid accessible cash is around 69K. but I actually moved to Rochester 2 years ago, and we found a nice place. We built our own house. So they are out of the 69K, having some for remaining of the furniture, and the remaining is my emergency.
How much do you think you're going to need to spend of the 69?
I'm hoping 20. Sofas and couches are starting to become quite pricey.
Ask Mark about that. He was waiting for a while. Okay, so you got, let's just pretend 50 is the emergency reserve. So how much is the house worth?
720K.
And you have a mortgage outstanding?
Yes, we just started paying July last year, and it actually comes down to 1.5K. That sounds low because when I left previous company, there was some stock that I was able to cash out. So I was like, okay, I'm moving into a new place. I'm going to take this stock, that the company stock, that the RSU, the options, I'm all going to put toward my down payment. That's what I did.
So the outstanding mortgage is not that much because you put a bunch of money down.
Right. I purposely made it so that it's similar to the rent that I was paying, so that my life before I move and my life after I move, it's similar.
You said you now have $1,500 a month is what 1,500 a month is what you pay in terms of your principal and your interest. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. What about your savings beyond the emergency reserve? How much money did you have in a retirement account?
The previous company and previous company, they both have the after-tax option. So I was able to put in quite some bit. So it comes down to approximately 410K. And all my 401ks was in Roth.
I just want to make sure I get this. Your actual living day to day is fine, right? In other words, you're $118,000, you're paying your bills, you're raising your kids. You don't feel like you're not going into debt. There's nothing bad that's happening, right?
We pretty much break even.
But you break even with no retirement contribution at this point, right?
That is with retirement contribution. Of course, this coming year it will change.
Right. What are we going to do for your retirement, though? I mean, are you going to open a Roth IRA? Do you have a Roth IRA as a standalone account?
I have a Roth IRA.
How much is in there?
Almost 50K.
Okay, so the 410,000 in old retirement accounts, which is all Roth, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Then we have a Roth IRA on top of that of $50,000, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then is there a brokerage account as well?
I do have a brokerage account. That's 88K.
That's great.
And it's 95% 500 index, and the remaining is in bonds.
Oh, I see the great caution you've taken in your 5% bonds. Is that it for the accounts? Do you have a Roth IRA and your wife has a Roth IRA?
No. She went with the traditional IRA.
So your wife has a traditional IRA?
Yes.
How much is in there?
Almost 38K.
We'll get back to Leanne in just a moment. If something's going on in your financial life, if you've changed jobs and it's resulted in a lower income or a higher income, let us know. Go to JillOnMoney.com and click the Contact Us button. Complete the form and check the box if you want to join us on the air live. The Jill on Money Show. We will be right back.
Welcome back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger takes the mystery out of your finances.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. Let's return to Leanne from Rochester. So first things first, is that it for all the assets? Just want to make sure.
I do have 529 for kids.
Tell us about those.
Combined together, it's 45K, almost half and half between the two kids.
Even though you took a pay cut, it seems to me like you've done this very responsibly and you figured out a way to make sure that even if you are earning less money, that you're able to support yourself. So that's very good. So I think there's a couple of things that I would do just to clean up. And I do think you're in a good shape. You're like on track to kind of move through here, live your life, get your kids educated. But I think there's some things to clean up. First of all, your wife's IRA, okay? I think you should convert that into a Roth. And I think you should do that this year. Your income for this year is such, I don't know, did you earn money at a higher rate before? Wait, the layoff happened, but how much were you getting paid before that layoff? What was the previous salary?
Previous salary is 162.
So, and then you got laid off. Are you getting severance also?
I am getting severance.
How much? Till when, I mean?
2 months.
Okay. So if we took a quarter of your 162, it's about the right amount. And now you're going to have 118. So you're going to go down, but you're still going to have, I think, a good amount of income, and you will be able to convert some of your money in order to, make this all cleaned up. Now, you could wait until next year to convert just so you don't take the hit this year. That's fine. But what you should do for this year is you will make a contribution into your Roth because you make less as a married filing jointly. You'll make less than $230,000 this year total.
Yes.
Okay. So you can make a contribution into a Roth IRA for yourself, open up a Roth IRA for your wife also. Okay. So you'll each put $7,000 into a Roth. Next year, when we know that your income is, at a lower level, either do it all at once, but I think that your wife's IRA, that $38,000, you should convert that. You should just convert that. I would like to clean up these accounts. What I'd like you to end up with next year in 2025, what we hope you have is a Roth IRA in your name, a Roth IRA in your wife's name. You contribute to those as long as you don't have a retirement plan through work. Use those to make your retirement contributions. Just do it. It's very easy. And then as you go ahead and sort of look ahead, the other question is, what's happening with that brokerage account, how much money you're going to put in there. I mean, I guess you just really need to see how your cash flow looks. When the dust settles and you see what it feels like to live on $118,000, then even if for this year even if you took money out of your brokerage account, cash something out to make a contribution into your retirement account, I would do that. But I definitely would convert your wife's IRA into a Roth and have her contribute to a Roth. And then you're at 40 years old, putting money away for your kids, the money you've saved already. I think you're in great shape. The biggest issue for you guys is that since you don't have a retirement plan available to you, the bulk of your savings beyond the IRA contributions, your Roth IRA contributions, will be in that brokerage account. And you'll see how it goes. You guys don't seem to spend a lot of money, and you are saving in a great and aggressive way. You're taking care of your kids. I don't see there being a downside here. Do you have private life insurance?
In previous company, I go through them, but then I will be looking into it this week.
Good. Okay, so just go get yourself some insurance. You're probably going to need $1 million of term life insurance. Your kids are young, so 15, 20 year, probably 20-year term, maybe 15-year. You can see. And also, if your wife is sort of the primary caretaker of these kids, get her $500,000. And let's get that going. And do you guys have estate documents? Do you have, a will, a power of attorney, a healthcare proxy?
Since I left the previous company and I signed up for the legal service.
Oh, good.
Benefits.
Yes. Good. All right. Well, I think you're in good shape. And I very much think that I would not get yourself too crazy about hitting a milestone. You're making a huge transition, okay? A huge transition. And so I think for you guys, you absolutely should be thinking about consolidating these accounts, converting to Roth, using Roth, consolidating, and do what you keep doing. I think that little by little, these accounts are going to grow. And you are going to be in a very strong position. I really do. Again, I don't really think that you should worry like I took a pay cut, I did this, because even though all those things happened, you had the money, you cashed out the stock, you bought a house that you can afford, you got a ton of equity in your home. It's a low level of expenses. I mean, I think that you're in great shape. If you would like to join us on the air, all you need to do is go to our website, JillOnMoney.com, and click the Contact Us button. The Jill on Money Show will be right back. You're back. It's Jill on Money, the program that attempts to take the mystery out of your financial life. And before we conclude the program, let's take an email. This is from David, who writes, "My wife and I have our IRAs, brokerage account, and cash management account with Merrill Lynch. We have a, quote, wealth management advisor." I didn't put the quotes around it. That's what David did. So let me get back to it. "We have a wealth management advisor we have been working with. We are getting charged 1.5% on our IRA and brokerage account. Is this a competitive rate? How do I know if I'm getting value for the rate that I'm being charged?" David, this is a great question. And it really does go back to so many issues that we have around financial planning and investment management and financial advisors. And that is that people don't understand exactly what they're paying and what they're getting for that. So if you are asking me, is 1.5% a high charge, a medium charge, or a low charge? Basically, if you've got less than, say, $500,000, then 1.5 is probably somewhat competitive. If it's $500,000 to $2 million, then it's maybe 1%. And usually above $2 million, then you start to get lower rates. But for that rate, you should be getting full-blown financial planning, not just investment management, because you can buy investment management so much cheaper from anywhere out there. And maybe you can do it yourself. Maybe you could get a robo-advisor. Maybe you could get an advisor service that's part of a large firm like a Fidelity or a Schwab. It's just so hard to know because I don't know what exactly you are getting for that fee. If you are simply paying 1.5% for straight up money management, I think you can do better. But give us a holler back and we can probably help you out and try to figure out a better model or the one that fits best for you. Well, okay, that's it. That's the program. Thanks so much for listening. You can always check out all of our content. It lives at JillOnMoney.com. Our music is composed by Joel Goodman. Mark Delarcio is our executive producer and web king. And we like to ask you to do something nice for someone else today. Change your work, change your wealth, change your life. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.